don't enter one chance, I swear, now go with the go so. Yes, men, they kill us every day, for them busy, they campaign again. After they failed all the promises they made, oh, them they praise themselves. Why the masses were supposed to give them the praises we they are they run to? Move it down. I blame it on the religious leaders. I blame it on the traditional rulers. People were supposed to fight for the people, they don't compromise. Shame on the rebellious brothers. People will cry with us during answers. Today them don't join those oppressors, they eat jollof. Something on the smell of. Very soon now we go perceive them. We have up where this government they cause my time bomb. It go soon explode. Revolution they come up. It is very close and they feel more. When the power of the people we triumph, the power of the people in power. They no even care, they no even send. Say the people they die of hunger. Hungry dog is an angry dog. One day you go bite the owner. I don't man is the devil workshop. Many youths for Nigeria no good job. And the country the youths got no future. The country is gone, that's on period. Move it on. I blame it on the judiciary leaders. I blame it on the electoral officials. People were supposed to save the nation, but they collected bribe. Shame on the armed forces. People were supposed to protect the masses. One of them they shoot us anytime they hear our voice.
All of us. In 1776, the United States separated from the United Kingdom by declaration. Today, they are the world power. In 1830, Belgium separated from Netherlands. Today, they are one of the most powerful countries in Europe. Both of the countries. In 1965, Singapore separated from Malaysia. Today, they have transformed into global financial hub as a result of the separation. Why is it that when we call for separation, Nigeria and their criminals will be calling us terrorists? Don't fall for it. The past separation has led to the upsurge of economic development in the case of India and Pakistan, Norway, Denmark, Switzerland. Each of these separation has led to the upsurge of economic and development. In 2002, East Timor separated from Indonesia. In 1921, Ireland separated from the United Kingdom. Today, they are one of the powerful countries we have. In 1944, Iceland separated from Denmark, demonstrating that nations can part away without violence. Why do you kill Biafrans? Whenever we say we are fed up of Nigeria. In Nigeria, where you have dangerous diversity, in Nigeria, where you have the northern part of Nigeria practicing Islamic State, practicing Islamic Sharia law, and they have different culture, different laws, different rules, different everything. And with that kind of mentality and setup, we can never develop as a nation. That is the reason we call for the separate state, and of course for independent state for Biafra. Apart from the killings, genocide against our people, and jihad. In 1905, Norway and Sweden separated and goes their separate ways. Today, they are one of the most powerful countries in Europe because of the separation. In 1947, India and Pakistan separated. The list can go on and on and on.
Akara mi hem benem mbe sima choro fu ukwehi mo nkozo mu atoro ehi niile mo nko ya ma aka ya ma isi ya ma olu ya ai ga dobri we po na nko nwa anyi tigata azu etu anyi no tupu ndi ocha we bia ebe anwa aha obodo ebe anwa ndi mmadụ n'imi tupu nwa bekee si ebe o si hapụ obodo ya obia ebe a okporo onye nke okporo okeke okporo okafọ dakata anyi isi osi na ụbọchị nketa na anya aha anyi wuzi Nigeria anyị na-aza aha na-emogo mimi n'imi ya ingwa gbasi biko kọwara m ihe Nigeria pụtara enwepụ ya kọwara m ọmụ ga-aza aha osimiri ka osimiri ga-aza aha mụwa n'ihi ihe anyị na-ekwu wu na ebe arụgidere ụlọ a na ọ jọgburu onwe ya ọ dịghị mma Nigeria agaghị emekọtanwu ihe ọzọ ihe ọjọọ emego n'obodo a arụ emego egbugo ndị be anyị aka na-egbukwa anyị ndị Fulani wechere na mabata be anyị ka na-egbukwa ndị be anyị ruo ụtụtụ echi a na-asị m na ọ ga-adị mma oge ọ na-ekwu ka nwee mmekọrịta mmekọrịta bụ nke ndị nọkọ nke ndị ụmụnne ha egosighị anyị ọtụtụ mgbe ha kpọrọ anyị asị onye ajụrụ ajụ na-ajụ onwe ya ha jụrụ anyị aja ama njụ onwe anyị agbanyeghị na anyị nwe ngwa ahịa n'ugwu Awụsa agbanyeghị na anyị na-azụ ahịa ebe niile dị iche iche na-eme nke ọma kama onye gara ndụ kpakụ onye rie niile ọ Ndụbụisi ka anyị na-ekwu okwu ya ka echehata azụ ebe a ruo obodo anyị ka o wee maa mma wee karịa obodo ndị ọcha na mma ọhịa anyị na-arịọ nwekwe na ugwu nwee nkwanye ugwu n'ime onwe anyị ọnwa anyị pụọ n'iro a na-etigbu anyị pụọ n'iro okwu okwu asị ọ bụ gịnị ma anyị ji wee ekwu okwu ụmụ ihe ndị a ka anyị sị na anyị agaghị anabatakwa ya ọzọ.
Akụkọ a kọrọ anyị bụ na ọkụkọ na ewu agaghị nzukọ ụmụ anụmanụ a na-emezi mgbe ọbụla a chọrọ ịchụ aja ejiri ọkụkọ maọbụ nwụchụ aja mgbe ọbụla a chọrọ ime ka Naijiria dị n'otu enwe ha na-eto esi mgbe kpam akpụrụ ndị Igbo ọ pụtara na anyị bụ ọkụkọ maọbụ ka ọ pụtara na anyị agaghị nzukọ mere ya bụ eji eme anyị bụ ndị Igbo ụdị na ọbara ndị Igbo ahụ kpafu n'obodo Naijiria agaghị.
Ọ bụ site na akpọmasị ihe na-eme anyị dị ka ihe mere ndị ji oge mgbe gara aga etu akụ ka mba niile dị iche iche ji kpọọ ụmụ Izrel asị a na-egbu ha a na-egbu ha a na-egbu ha afọ niile aka na-egbu ha o wee ruo oge ugbu anyị asị na ogbugbu a na-egbu anyị na ọ dịghị anyị mma ọ ka mma na onwe ihe kwegbuo anyị wu nwere onwe njem a nke anyị na-aga kama na na-esi etete n'ụtụtụ asị na onwe onye gburu ebe a onwe ha na-ekwu okwu odo na onye onye n'aka ụkọchukwu n'ugwu Awụsa ebepụ isi ọnwụghị ofu ugboro ọnwụghị ugboro abụọ ọnwụghị ugboro atọ ọnwụghị ugboro anọ ọ bụ ruo ole mgbe ka a ga-egbugide anyị wee rue anyị asị mba na anyị ga-aga ka anyị nwee ike wee nwere onwe anyị ọ ka mma na anyị nwụrụ ebe anyị na-azọ nwere onwe tụbụ na anyị nọ n'ụlọ etu a mmadụ bụ mabata n'ime ụlọ mbịa bupụ m isi a sị na-achọghị ụdị nka ọ bụghị anyị maka a ga-eji wee chụọ àjà ọzọ.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us on this very evening program. I appreciate everyone that has connected wherever you are connecting from. Please like and share the program, share to family and friends, share to your neighbors, share to those who are close to you so that they can join us on this very quick evening program. We are going to be very quick. It's not going to take much of your time. You know, our evening program is 1 hour or less than 1 hour. So we're going to try as much as possible to cover up a kind of revision of what we did in the morning. I appreciate every one of you that have connected wherever you are connecting from. Please like and share the program. Don't bother yourself from the attack that is coming to us. Do not bother yourself from the plans of the enemies against us. They are attacking us right, left, and center. They attack our platform, they attack our personality, they attack everything to see that they discourage us. But I bet you, the more they do that, the more we see reason to fight more. The more we see these attacks, the more it encourages us to fight more and let us know that the enemy is still there. Sometimes you forget that the enemy is there. But when this attack continues to come, you will be reminded that the enemy is not giving up. They are not going away. And because of that, if you are one of those who have been playing, you stop playing and you get serious. Because the enemy is not, they are not giving up. They are not giving up. Even when you think that they are no longer there, they are always there following out closely, pushing their lies, their propaganda against us. My fellow biafrans, wherever you are and you are joining us, do not give up. Do not give up. The challenges is too much. Sometimes when you come out and you look at things around you, you will kind of lose hope. Sometimes you lose confidence. Sometimes you'll be thinking, is this possible? My brothers and sisters, it is possible. No matter the challenges, no matter the trials, no matter the temptations, no matter the obstacle, do not give up. Every single thing we are passing through today are what we are supposed to pass through before we get to our destination. Every single thing we are facing, they are what we are supposed to face before we get to our destination. Don't take it to heart. Don't be discouraged with it. You know, gold, before gold became what it is, the gold you wear, the gold necklace, the gold wristwatch, the gold, that shiny gold that you see that people can even kill to have. Before gold became what it is, it passed through a very, very hot flame. If you go where they are melting gold, you can't even stay closer to the flame. You can't even hold that very flame. It is a very hot flame. And the metal will be passed through that very hot fire before it becomes gold, refined. And when you see it, you cannot help than to fight for it. That is how this our struggle is. Whatever challenges we are facing today, it's bound to be there. Whatever attack you are seeing today, it's bound to be there. Don't be discouraged. Some people are going to hate you because you are fighting for your. Some are going to call you different kinds of names, not because you did anything wrong, simply because you have refused to give up your freedom. Some of them will come with different kinds of thought, different kinds of idea, just to distract you. But I beg you in the name of Chukwu, do not get it. I understand as a human being sometimes when you look at the pressure coming from right, left, and center, you begin to ask yourself, why am I doing this? You ask yourself, does it really worth it? Sometimes when you look at the insult you get in the course of this journey, you see people who are not even equal to anything, people who cannot stand you on any level. But because of the cause of freedom, you see them call you different kinds of names. You see them abuse you. You see them denigrate you. Don't give up. Don't run away because of their attitude. If you know what you can do, continue to do it. Continue to go on. Is it going to be easy? It is not going to be easy. It has never been easy. When it comes to freedom fighting has never ever been easy. It is a very tough road to pass through. So our own case is not a different issue. This is something we have seen over and over and over again. So whatever we are experiencing today are the things we are bound to experience for us to get to our destination. Today in the morning, we talked about the fake unity in Nigeria, and we are still talking about that fake unity. Nigeria is not one nation, has never been and will never be. The contraption called Nigeria is not one, has never been one, and will never be one. I want you to understand that in this platform, everything we say, it is not out of hate. We don't come here to instigate violence. We don't come to this platform to preach hate. All we do in this platform is to present facts and figures. Most of the things we say in this platform, you can equally find people saying it in their conventional media. People have said it over and over in their conventional media. Maybe they say it with political correctness, maybe they say it in a different form. But everything we are saying here, there are people that are repeating the same thing on their conventional media. But with thank Chukwu today, we have the social media. We can use the social media to express ourselves. The faulty foundation of Nigeria, it is not a story. It's not a propaganda. I have played video of confession of people who were there during the amalgamation, how it was done, how the British helped the Caliphate to rig election against the South, how they got the fake figures they are using today for their election in Nigeria. When they come and they will tell you that northern part of Nigeria has greater population than the southern part of Nigeria. How they cook those lies, we know all about it. The hatred against the Igbo people that we see today is foundational planned by the colonial master. Right from the onset, the colonial master saw we, the Igbos, as a threat. They saw us as a threat because they found out that we are intelligent. We know what they know. They found out that we are hardworking. They found out that when they came, we already have our own government. We have our own ways of doing things. But in as much as we have our own way of doing things, we welcome an open hand. They know that we are willing to learn, and we learned and learned better than they can ever imagine. When the white men came, they saw that we are not pushover. The entire southern Nigeria are not pushover, more especially the Igbo Biafrans. That was why during the independence, they avoided us. They went at the back to go and contact people who never wanted independence nor spoke for it. The Caliphate. The Fulanis never wanted anything called independence. They never supported it. In fact, their so-called fake independence would have come earlier than it came. It came late because the South was busy working tirelessly to convince the North to have their freedom. The South was spending time to convince the North to accept freedom. And that delayed for some time before they now accepted to go on freedom. And then the West have seen the weaknesses. They have seen how they are. They have seen their loyalty, that they are ready to be a slave for as long as it takes. They took the contraption and handed over to them. Foreigners. The Fulanis are not Nigerians. The Fulanis are not Nigerians. These are people that came into Nigeria from Futajelo. And when they came in with terrorism. Through Ottoman Danfodio. Ottoman Danfodio was the first terrorist that entered into Nigeria. The very first terrorist in Nigeria was Ottoman Danfodio. He terrorized the northern part of Nigeria. Terrorized them to the extent that he succeeded in taking out all the leaders in the north. The Hausas by themselves helped Ottoman Danfodio to destroy their own leaders. And finally, they took over. And he planted emirs everywhere. The only place they could not conquer is Borno. They could not conquer Borno, and that is why up to today they are still fighting to take over Borno. The same thing in the Middle Belt, they could not conquer the Tifis. Up to today, that is part of the reason they are attacking Benue State. Whether they like to tell these stories or not, we will continue to tell this story over and over again. We will tell the story to our children will tell their children, and so we will continue. Wherever you are watching this program from. I want you to understand that this battle is a battle that must be fought. We, the Biafran people, are asking for only one thing. We are asking for a sovereign state of Biafra. We are not asking for a president of Nigeria. We are not asking for restructuring or anything under Nigeria. We are not asking for resources under Nigeria. We are not asking for their pity or apology. All we ask is freedom. We want to be on our own. We are asking for self-determination, a right that belongs to everyone. International law supports self-determination. African peoples and human rights law support self-determination. Nigerian law itself supports self-determination. But because the Biafrans are the ones seeking for this right, Nigerian government criminalize self-determination, and they tag those who are calling for self-determination terrorists. That is why today they are charging Mazen Nandekano for terrorism. The same thing with Mazen Simon Ekpa. They didn't stop in Nigeria. They went all the way to Finland to connive with Finland government. And they detained Mazen Simon Ekpa. Today, here are we. They thought by taking Mazen Simon Ekpa, Mazen Nandekano out, they will shut us up. But as long as Chukwu Obikarima live, we will continue to give voice to Mazen Nandekano. We will continue to provide a voice for Mazen Simon Ekpa. We will continue to be their voice. It doesn't matter what anybody does. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what you think. I have chosen my own path, and my path is to give voice to Mazen Nandekano, to give a voice to Mazen Simon Ekpa, to pass that message. That message that they preach, that puts the zoo on their knees. That message that terrifies the zoo, message of truth that they don't want to hear. We will continue to broadcast it. We will continue to speak about it and tell the world the truth. Nigeria is made up of nations who were forced together without agreement. We were not consulted when the British were forming their company. The British on their own forced people together without our consent, brought out a name, and they called it Nigeria. And they said, you, from today onwards, you are Nigeria. And some black people are protecting that name without asking questions. Some people are ready to die for that name without asking questions. What a shame. What a shame. But I bet you, wherever you are and you're watching this program, I want you to understand that you were somebody before the British came. And whoever you were before they came, that is whom you are. That is whom you continue to be. It is an abomination for a stranger to come and change whom you are and change your name and give you a strange name and you accept. Only idiots do that. The Biafrans are not one of those idiots. That is why we reject Nigeria, and we continue to reject Nigeria, and we will reject Nigeria anytime, any day. We are Biafrans. Biafrans we have always been, and Biafra will continue to be. So my fellow Biafrans, wherever you are watching, why they are continue to do everything they do, we will continue to keep record. We are in a very delicate time, a time that Nigeria has been designated a country of particular concern. The whole Europe is concerned about Nigeria. The United States is concerned about Nigeria. Asia is concerned about Nigeria, a country of particular concern. This is a time to end the zoological republic. That is why we are presenting Biafra as the only remedy to the failed state Nigeria. You can continue to pretend for all I care. It doesn't matter how long it takes. You are going to come back to this remedy. It does not matter how long it takes. You will definitely come back to this remedy. The only remedy to save humanity in Nigeria is Biafra. I have explained this several times that it is not a selfish call. It is not a selfish call. When Biafrans are free, the Yoruba Republic is going to be free. When Biafrans are free, the Arewas is going to be free. When Biafrans are free, the Middle Belts are going to be free. So it is not a selfish call or a selfish request. Every hand must be on deck. And Biafra definitely will be achieved. No matter the propaganda, no matter the lies, no matter the blackmail, no matter the suffering, don't give up. No matter the suffering, don't give up. Continue to hold your ground. Keep your faith. At the end of the day, we will all come together and celebrate this freedom. We will definitely celebrate freedom at the end of the day. So wherever you're watching me from, I urge you in the name of Chukwu Abiyam, stay strong and continue to support humanity. If you are a Biafran, there is no other choice you have. The only choice is Biafra. If you are from Oduduwa land, the only option you have is Oduduwa to save yourself. If you are from Yoruba land, the only option you have is Yoruba Democratic Republic. That is the only thing you have. If you are from the Middle Belt, support your Middle Belt group to free yourself. Biafrans, we are gone already. All we are asking is that the occupation force in Biafra land should leave our land. We don't have the same value system with people in the north. The entire Biafra land have a different value system. We have almost the same religion in the entire Southeast. Old Southeast region, we have the same religion. We look alike. We have the same food, the same dressing, the same market days. So the uniqueness of this southeastern region is also, it's a family. What we have there is a family. The same way you have family in the southwest, the Yoruba family. And in the Middle Belt, you have families there. And then you have the Arewa family. It is time for everybody to go their separate ways and build a nation that is suitable for them. Build your own nation. I am not going to build a nation for you. You're not going to build my own for me. Countries are created along value system. I say it over and over again. Countries are created along value system. And if you see countries that have divided in the past, it is because of the value system. India divided with Pakistan because of the difference in religion. Value system. Pakistan, India went ahead again, broke down to Bangladesh. Value system. So it is not just about religion, it is also about culture. That is how it was broken down. India, before broke away, and you got Pakistan in it, you got Bangladesh in it. Even Nepal, they were all part of India before. But today, every one of them is on their own, striving to be better, having a healthy competition. Look at Malaysia and Singapore, one of the best countries, growing and challenging the first world countries. Malaysia and Singapore doing very well in every aspect, both economical and technology, living peacefully alongside each other. They intermarry. People go to work from Malaysia to Singapore every day, and they go to work and come back. Some people go to work to Malaysia from Singapore, they go and come back daily. That is how peaceful they are. Common boundary, they use their card. You live in Malaysia and you are working in Singapore. Some people are living in Singapore and they are working in Malaysia. The two countries are doing very, very well in all ramifications. Peaceful. The same thing you have in the Europe. Many countries that broke away from the former USSR, including Finland that now joined the terrorist country, including Finland that is now supporting a terrorist country. They were also part of the USSR, Russia. The USSR was broken into pieces along value system. Along value system. When we talk about value system, it goes down more than religion, culture, and so many other things. When you look at Nigeria, you find that Nigeria is not, what you see in Nigeria is a death trap. And that is why you are seeing the increase of terrorism. And it's not going to stop. The terrorism is happening in Nigeria will continue easily. It will get worse. It will get worse if nothing is done. That is why we are calling on the United States to take this everlasting solution, disintegration. That is the only genuine and lasting solution to what is happening today in Nigeria. Once you disintegrate Nigeria, this interest that is creating terrorists every day, this interest that is attracting the terrorists into Nigeria will die a natural death. Because whatever resources they are chasing, the indigenous people will protect their area. The only reason the indigenous people cannot protect themselves is because of Nigeria, because of British. Because of that British interest, because of that British name. That is why the indigenous people cannot protect their land. That is why terrorists are taking over Nigeria. But as soon as you break it up, I bet you every region will be safe and secure. My fellow Biafrans, this evening we are going to go into their conventional media. Let us go to their conventional media and watch a program that I have there. He has a lot to say, and let's pay attention and hear the information they have in that program. Remember, that is what we do every day. We always visit their conventional media, so it won't be like we are just talking. When we present them, you compare it to what you see, compare it to what is on the ground, then you can be able to give response or answers in regards to what you see. So let us hear what they have to say in this very studio.
My name is Esther Wachuku, and today's conversation intends to be quite explosive and insightful. We always tell ourselves that for us to understand how to move on, for us to strategize presently, we need to come from our history. History helps us understand how to move on. History helps us understand the root of the problem. It's very vital what we don't know. And because of that, we have different narratives as to what formed us or what had made us become today. We want to revisit it with actualities and then understand where we're headed. Nnamdi Kanu's conviction has set tongues wagging, polarized the country. Tribal sentiments have come up. Some persons say it's a Yoruba judge that convicted Nnamdi Kanu. It is indeed the Yoruba propaganda that caused the civil war. It is a hatred of the Yorubas towards the Igbos that caused it. While some Igbos said Nnamdi Kanu deserved the conviction, he got because of the lives that were lost based on the incitement and the broadcast that he made. A couple of people believe that Nnamdi Kanu was extremely radicalized, that he radicalized a cross-section of Nigerians and turned the economy of the Southeast to what it is now, where investment opportunities cannot come and persons are free to visit the Southeast, saying they took advantage of the lack of exposure or the intelligence of the young ones. Other cross-sections of Nigerians believe that Nnamdi Kanu opened the eyes of the Igbos, opened the eyes of certain Nigerians as to the debilitation of Nigeria's unity, specifically as he called them Janjaweeds, and the supposed rundown of rule and order in the judicial system. Quite a lot of expose. Others believe that Nnamdi Kanu shouldn't have come up with that angle, possibly advocate by entering the mainstream politics and infusing the Southeasterners to become core part of the system, considering that after the Civil War, it seems Nigeria has not forgiven the Southeast. Therefore, because of the conviction of Nnamdi Kanu, we're seeing some young persons say, I do not represent Biafra, I'm not part of IPOB, and others say, IPOB till I die. Asari Dokubo claims that Biafra is not a word that connotes what Nnamdi Kanu describes. He says Biafra belongs to the Ijos. Again, we're going to be looking at all this historical perspective. Legal practitioners have told us that the judgment of Nnamdi Kanu was unfair, totally ridiculous, and literally reeks of a deteriorating system in the judicial system. Others believe that Justice Omotosho was actually quite lenient in the judgment given to Nnamdi Kanu. And the polity has been set alight, division obviously taken into sway, and again, 2027 is on the lips of everyone as to what should the Southeasterners do or the Igbos do. Because of that, let's go back in time. CBS News did a comprehensive documentary of what transpired during the Civil War. There are excerpts of Ojukwu's interview as well. And 8 years ago, Nnamdi Kanu did an interview with Kadaria Ahmed, who is El-Rufai's sister-in-law. She has actually worked with NTA, she's worked with channels, and she's also been sponsored by McPherson Foundation. She's a very erudite and ostentatious broadcaster. And 8 years ago, Nnamdi Kanu described what IPOB meant and what his intention was all about. How did things deteriorate to the point where right now there is apprehension, there's anxiety, there is fear, and there's reluctance with the concept of Biafra or IPOB. So let's briefly take a listen to this to bring us back in context. You're going to hear what Gowon called the Igbos, his family, his brothers, and he called it Ojukwu's war. You also hear Ojukwu deny that he did not cause the war. He was a part of the war. He happened to be in it. This will create a context for the conversation we're going to have this evening. Kindly please be patient and take a very close listen.
Let's pause now for some of the history behind this bloody war. It is said, though no one knows for sure, that 1 of every 4 black men on the African continent is a Nigerian. There were 55 million of them before the war. Nigeria was a creation of men, Igbo and other military officers in 19 big battle for a city or a road junction. This is Nkwalo Junction. There was heavy fighting here in early May as the Biafrans retook the town. Nkwalo Junction is 25 miles from Port Harcourt, a major seaport and refinery city the Biafrans want back. The Biafran troops we found at this road junction were a rag engaged in Biafra's most successful offensive of the war. How the Biafran army succeeds, armed as it is with an odd-lot collection of weapons, is a puzzle. Some at the front carry communist-made AK-47s, like those used by the Viet Cong. Some only World War I bolt-action antiques, a .30-caliber machine gun just captured from the Nigerians. Much, in fact, of what the Biafrans are now using against the Nigerians, they have taken from them. One military man up here told me, not totally as a joke, the Biafran army runs on beer and bullets. The Biafran army lacks both, with ammunition constantly in critically short supply. These troops had advanced 6 miles in less than a week. Then, practically out of ammunition, were forced to stop on the road to Port Harcourt until more supplies trickled down to them. One of this army's other problems is staying large enough to continue the fight against Nigerians. When Biafra seceded in 1967, it had fewer than 1,000 men under arms, and those mostly officers and clerks. Now it has been built up to between 40...
I'm seeking it through a national party in Nigeria, a party that transcends ethnic considerations. I am parts of Nigeria. The leader of the party for which I am standing is a northerner. There are many duty to the best of my ability. And I am glad that Nigerians generally recognize this fact. One man could not have held the entire Nigeria and her allies for 3 years. The Igbo very much liked what I have already mentioned. The obstacle, I'm not seeking political office. I'm not seeking government office. Just to represent my people 10 years after the end of the war. Obstacles are being put. Even people who just signed my papers are being imprisoned. It would be foolhardy for me at this stage to step into Nigeria. But I will go back. Once I become a member, I will go back. And I'll take my chance with my parliamentary unity. I will go back. And I'll take my chance with my parliamentary unity. Through a constitution established by the military regime, I am seeking it through a national party in Nigeria. Through a national party in Nigeria, a party that transcends ethnic considerations. I am in fact a partner of other parts of Nigeria. The leader of the party for which I am standing is a northerner. There are many Westerners, there are Easterners in that party. I am comes back. Must be a reopening of the old roots. Must be a symbol of the war that took place. Actually, I don't think it is. I don't think in any way.
Chief Emeka Ojukwu led the Biafrans against the government. Are you the first one? Yes, I led the first one. And I will
say to everyone, I made proudly the first one. I don't think the second one is necessary. We should have learned from that first one. Otherwise, the deed would have been to no avail, would all have been in vain.
Ojukwu speaking that there was no need for another war, that the Nigerians have actually gone through enough. The Southeast has suffered. It's not something he would want to continue. Now, let's take a listen to Nnamdi Kanu 8 years ago in this interview concerning the indigenous people of Biafra as a group and what he stands for concerning that.
What does Biafra mean? What does Biafra mean?
It means freedom, liberty, fairness, equity, and justice.
In practical terms, these are very good sounding words, but in practical terms, what does Biafra mean?
Confederation.
So, a weak center,
Very weak.
very strong region.
Absolutely.
Have you had a change of mind, therefore, about getting an independent Biafra? Because that's what I seem to be hearing.
No, I've not changed my mind. No. And even if from me, it's going back to where we were before the white man came.
Okay, so you're not talking about a federation. When you say a confederation, you're not talking about a federation as part of Nigeria. You're talking about total independence.
Absolutely.
Complete independence. Now, is there anything that can happen that will make you change your mind about this particular direction?
No.
So it is either Biafra or nothing else.
Or death.
Or death.
That's right.
If push comes to shove,
Yeah.
will you go to war?
No, because truth is a far more potent and deadlier weapon than bullets and muskets.
So no war. You've ruled out the...
Absolutely. No. No. When I say Biafra order, I'll keep pushing. Either I am alive, I die in the course of the own story. Allow me to repeat, if you don't mind. Had sovereign national conflicts been convened by the powers that be, where every ethnic national, I said every, I don't care if there's 600, I don't care. Everyone is
All the 500.
everyone together to say, this is for others can delegate, I don't know, powers to other people to attend on their behalf. Sit down to say, what type of country do we want? Sit down, discuss, agree. I can begin to perhaps submit to your
Is it
position.
too late?
It is way too late. They've killed too many people. They've raped too many lives. They've wasted too many souls. How do we bring those people back?
If the federal government, given the agitation that is going on, becomes convinced that, you know what, these people have a point, and it is time to actually address all these issues, and they begin to systematically address some of these issues, would you change your mind?
No, because of the deceptions of the past.
No trust.
No trust. Abori was there, was negotiated. Nothing, 1968, if I recall. And the Comfort report, what became of it? How about the 3 R's? Reconciliation, reconstruction, and heaven knows what else. What became of them? Nothing. Calabar Seaport is not working. Can you tell me why it's not working? The seaport. Used by the colonial masters. Why is it not working today? How about Iguacha Seaport? Why is it not being used? Why not worry? Why must we allow only Lagos to function as a viable seaport? In England, where I used to live, you had Liverpool, you had the Southern, which is Portsmouth, Southampton, everywhere. You had harbors and ports. So why must we have only one?
I've heard people say these are very valid arguments, and that these are things that are to do with bad governance. So the average Biafran, to use your phrase, or Igbo man, Igbo, is facing poverty much in the same way that the average guy in your base state is facing poverty. And so these are issues of governance. You don't agree with that?
I agree completely.
Okay. So if that is it, why isn't the agitation about tackling the problem, which is ensuring good governance, perhaps starting from locally? Because part of the allegations against you is that you don't confront your political leaders in the East, and you'd like to blame Abuja for everything.
Because the way I would want to solve a problem is not how the Fulani man wants to solve it.
You really believe it's an ethnic thing, and the approach is different?
The approach is different. It's not ethnic. It is more to do with value system.
Right.
The way you may want to solve a problem could be markedly different from how I do mine.
What is the geographical makeup of Biafra, as far as you are concerned? This Biafra that you want. So, for example, if we're doing a referendum, where will that referendum take place? Is it only the 5?
No.
It's okay.
It's which is River State, Biafra, Delta, Anambra, Imo, Enugu, Ebonyi, Cross River,
Akwa Ibom?
and a Fiber Cross River. Right. Those are the coastal. Basically,
Bayelsa?
yes. Southeast and South have without the district.
Without a district.
That's correct. And then.
All right. So that was Nnamdi Kanu with Kadore Ahmed mentioning some states he believes belongs to Biafra. However, let's take a listen to Asari Dokubo countering that statement made by Nnamdi Kanu.
Joy is Biafra. The real little bit Oron and a little bit Ibibio. Some few people. That God.
Former President Muhammadu Buhari was still the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 4 years ago, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu resumed office. Asari Dokubo disclosed to us via the press that he was contracted by the Nigerian government to assist the military. He actually referred to them as private mercenaries, and where he also admitted that they assisted the Nigerian military in rounding night. Up to today, he has not apologized. He has also referred to the Southeasterners and the Igbos on several derogatory names and has always stood by that. Today, I have a historian in the studio. He's a senior editor in the Guardian newspaper of the Sunday editorial in the Guardian. He's a historian, a political and social affairs commentator, and that's Mr. Awa Omiko. If you had joined us during the Independence Day special broadcast, Mr. Awa Omiko was right here in the studio with us. I invited him today because Mr. Awa Omiko has a deep history. The reason why we need to conceptualize this is the concept of Biafra as disclosed by Ojukwu, and obviously Biafra by Nnamdi Kanu. The method these two great men supposedly went about it and what it has resulted to. Is it now time to change the strategy because it has not supposedly put the Southeasterners in the map that it belongs, or in the forefront as it ought to be? Has it weakened the Southeast? Has it demystified the Southeast? And obviously, has it polarized the Southeast, where a couple of Igbos don't want to be identified as Ipobians or Biafrans? Mr. Aromiko, good evening, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine, and you?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. Awa, you listened to all I played. Yes. I played that so we have a direction of where we're headed. And now there is an imbroglio. Some people in the Southeast feel isolated, marginalized. They feel it's more worse with this administration. There's no talk about how to resolve anything. They're clamoring for Biafra or nothing. Some other persons are beginning to reason a different way. Now, how about we go through a different approach, other than the violence and the aggressiveness, we calling for what we want, and then talking about poor leadership in that axis that has not improved the economy of the Southeast, and to be identified as true Nigerians in mainstream Nigerian politics. They also feel that the Nigerian government, or the federal government, somehow is still at war with the Igbos. Also, other minority ethnic groups are now speaking out, like saying, if the Igbos complain, what happens to us? What do we do? Are we not part of Nigeria, especially those in the Middle Belt? So what's your take with all of this, with the conviction of the Nnamdi Kanu?
Well, thank you. All the commentators have just spoken from their own perspectives.
That was Ojukwu, Nnamdi Kanu, Asari Dokubo.
Ojukwu that started this all. Started it as a result of injustice.
Come closer to mine.
They started this as a result of injustice in a country called Nigeria. What most people have described as a mismatch of ethnic groups.
That is what it is.
But in the real sense of it, after the war, Ojukwu himself said Biafra is dead only exists in the minds of the people. And that it will take another time. He said it will take only those that have the original vision of Biafra to resuscitate Biafra. That was what Ojukwu at the point said. Because he has seen the nature of Nigeria and what it entails to fight the war. And he has at the time said the war was a mistake.
Yes, he did.
Which political analysts have just said or have agreed or come up to say the war was just youthful exuberance of our leaders.
This is how they
That it
misquote.
should have been
This is how they misquote
a
Ojukwu.
mere sibling.
This is how they misquote Ojukwu. For you to understand what Ojukwu meant, you have to check on what context did Ojukwu say that that war was a mistake. On what context? Ojukwu said the war was a mistake. On what context? The mistake of the war, there are so many mistakes. One of the mistakes in doing that war was even stopping it at all. Stopping the war was a mistake. There are some mistakes that was made diplomatically. The diplomatic movement was not made then. So when you tell Ojukwu said it was a mistake, on what context was Ojukwu speaking? Don't just come and tell us Ojukwu said that the war was a mistake. Ojukwu said that he would have not fought the war. Ojukwu said that only the true Biafrans would resuscitate the war. Who are those true Biafrans? Who are they? The true Biafrans are those of us who are alive today. The real Biafrans are not those who are dead. There are people who are alive today, those of us who are alive today, who were born immediately after the war or during the war. The blood still runs our veins, and we are here to resuscitate the war. So when you're quoting Ojukwu, quote him under which context was he saying what he was saying?
Right, Harry. And everything that has to do with that war should have been sorted out instead of going to the field to destroy lives.
Yeah. Ojukwu said, it is not Ojukwu war. You listen to go on referring to war as Ojukwu's war. Ojukwu said it is not Ojukwu war.
That was what
happened. It happened.
Yeah, it happened. And the mistake of the war or the war would not happen. It doesn't work. It is a statement meant for Nigeria. Nigeria, we are not supposed to go to war with Biafra. There was no reason for Nigeria to come and fight war with Biafra. So that is why when they say this thing, they don't put the context well. Under which context was Ojukwu saying that? Was Ojukwu addressing Nigeria or addressing Biafrans? Who was he talking to? When he said there was no need for the war. On which context? Who was he referring to?
That war was a thing that came by circumstance.
The circumstances were what?
The circumstances were injustice.
What about the programs?
That's part of the injustice. Mm-hmm. If you look at the cause, killing of the Igbos, the coup, after that, the coup was misinterpreted and misrepresented, of which, if you listen to what IBB said of it, he said it wasn't an Igbo coup. It was a coup from people from all regions. But it was unfortunate that the leaders of the coup were mostly from the Igbo region. And the nexus of the planning was not effectively carried out. Because if the lives of Zeke had been killed, people would have said yes, the nitty-gritty of the coup was actually met, but it wasn't. Zeke on this own is a different ballgame and a different topic entirely. And the coup to a reasonable level failed. And that was a counter coup and others. And Ojukwu wasn't involved in any of the coups. What Ojukwu was only saying is that, go on, you are my junior. You can't be my boss. And he said, no, that can't happen. Gowon came out to say, I am standing for the northern region. And he said, this is, in fact, if you go ahead with your policy, I will secede from the country.
If you go ahead.
Yeah, with the policy of saying you're going to fight for the north.
So it's okay, I will secede. That was Ojukwu saying that.
Yes.
So it's not like it was a collective decision made by the elders in the southeast before he decided to go.
It was. Okay. Because Ojukwu was just the arrowhead. The people saw the way the people were being killed like houseflies.
It was terrible.
It was terrible.
Especially in the north.
That was why some described it as a pogrom. Killing of the people and destroying of things. Blood flowed in the streets, in the northern streets. And the federal government was more or less on break. Because, in fact, then the real party, the party described as the federal government, was the northern oligarchy. Yeah. Despite the fact that at that point in time, there were a lot of Igbo in the army. But because of the confusion going on and the mistrust, none of them could come out to say, yes, they are going to forge ahead to stand for the people. Only Ojukwu spoke up to say, you must not kill my people in this way. So he became the rallying point of Igbo. And before then, the politics had been heated to the extent that the Igbo elders came together in a meeting at Enugu to say, how can we find a solution to this? But unfortunately, there was no solution until Gowon went ahead to say the state of emergency has been declared in the east, and Ojukwu used the opportunity to declare a state of Biafra. And the war began. It was formally a mutiny, police action. That was the way federal government regarded it. Said it's going to be it's a police action. But when they discovered that the Nigerian police, which is the mobile police and the rest, could not handle the situation, army came in and became. So it wasn't a full-blown war because there were categories of war. Yeah. Initially, it wasn't. Until towards the end, when it came up, and it was a massacre. It was a massacre because the Igbo people had no trained personnel.
At all. The videos actually show it.
No trained personnel. Young boys were conscripted. People just came all from all angles to join, and they were just started. Even the intellectuals, like the Okibos, lecturers, that couldn't even differentiate gun from biros, were conscripted into the army. And that was the massacre. It was a massacre.
There was no assistance for anyone like the Nigerian government at the time.
There
was no assistance.
Why would you assist those fighting you?
I'm referring to the international community.
The international community.
Because we had the British media cover all of this. We had CBS News cover all of this.
For the British angle, it's a different ball game entirely, because the British supported the war against Biafra. Because Britain sees the country as what is called the suzerain, as part of colony, conquered colony, and they see benefit and we see it benefiting from us. So they felt if it is severed, that they will be losing part of the economy and whatever gets to them. Because if Biafra has succeeded, Biafra would have been marching towards the east and not the west. Would have been marching towards USSR that was still in existence there. Yeah. But unfortunately, those people came late. In fact, the Israeli were part of the Biafran army, but they came late. They came when the deed has been done. And that was why Ojukwu said, I have to leave. Besides, Ojukwu never knew that there were even saboteurs within the Biafran army. Because when the war was going on, as expected, and they got to a level, other people were clamoring. Just like those in the South, and we're equally clamoring that no, this cannot just be an Igbo war. He said they too must have their own country. And within that period, there was the Nigerian side was able to enter through the crack. When I mean the crack, I mean the saboteurs within. I might not be right to have used the word saboteur because they all were fighting nationalistic and ethnic war. It got to a level it became a nationalistic thing. When I mean nationalistic this time around, I'm not talking about Nigeria. I'm talking about an enclave. A Yoruba nation is a national. A John nation is a national. Igbo nation is a national. So it became a nationalistic thing. An enclavement for people to say, let us use the big center to fight, to stand on our own. But unfortunately, Nigerian, with the support of its ally, were able to bring the war to an end. That massacre made Ojukwu to go away. He ran away. He surrendered instead of killing himself. As being a brilliant soldier, he surrendered by loping. He ran away. But after the war, what should Nigerian state? What should they have done? To use the word of Awolowo, he said you can't be feeding the person fighting you. And there were diverse weapons used to fight the Biafran war. I don't want to call it the Igbo war. In fact, it's even a misnomer to say it was an Igbo war. It's a misnomer. Because in that same war, that same republic known as Biafra, we had the Ijaws, we had the Bibio, we had what's it called? The Anang, we had the Igbo, and other ethnic group within that region. They made up the Biafran Republic. And after that, what happened? The Igbo themselves as a group were more. So maybe that is why people will say it's always an Igbo war. No. It should be referred to as a Biafran war. And we have not learned much from it. In fact, from the way we run the polity and do the politicking in Nigeria, it shows we've learned nothing from it. Because after that war, the states the region were divided into states. There was no more region, of which immediately
it weakened.
Of which immediately go and declared the states. Ojukwu declared county. Ojukwu called his own county. Just like we have in Ghana, smaller regions. But the states, when the states were divided, it weakened the regions. But now, how can we go back? How can we bring peace? The three R's. Reconciliation. Reconciliation. Reintegration.
And deradicalization, something like that.
The reinvestment or so. Okay. The three R's.
Reconstruction.
Were not fully implemented. The three R's
rehabilitation, reconstruction,
and implemented with a bias. It wasn't even the right time to say reconciliation, no victor, no vanquish, according to the words of Kowa. In the war, there was a victor, there was a vanquish. The victor was the Nigerian side, the vanquish was Igbo. Because that region lacked development. Up to date. The people were not immediately reintegrated into the Nigerian civil service.
They became scattered.
And they became scattered. Within the war had just ended, and you are implementing indigenization policy. A policy that gave Nigerians rights to buy property within Nigeria and own a lot of industries. You shift those people out. You declared no matter the amount of money they have in their bank accounts, you reduced it to £20. Anyway, those were the punishments meted out. But for how long will such punishment continue? I agree that the Igbos have conquered the £20 things. At least if you begin to count the billionaires we have in Nigeria, if they're up to 50, Igbo man could be about 20 in there. They've overcome that. But an individual cannot develop a state. Just as a tree cannot make a forest. A tree can only add beauty to a forest. They cannot make a forest. There must be a collegiate effort.
Well, Mr. Awa, let's come back. 10 years after the war, Ojukwu wanted to come back to Nigeria and be part of the system. He wanted to be part of the Nigeria's parliament. He wanted to be part of the system that he once wanted to excommunicate himself from. Ojukwu wanted to also be a president at some point. I mean, you saw the what do you call it, the creation of the political party.
Yes, APGA.
And since then, somehow, Ojukwu himself had maintained that we cannot continue on that same line, especially what you call the siege mentality. That's what he referred to as it. He also said he would not allow or say that what happened at the time should repeat itself, because the Southeast will always be vulnerable. Let's listen to him.
No,
just
okay.
That's what he said.
People have created a vested interest. Since certain people have created a vested interest in a sort of situation which I personally consider unhealthy for our people. There is a sort of siege mentality which our people have acquired as a result of the end of the war. I believe this must cease. I believe our people must face the fact that the war is ended. They must feel free to partake, to serve, to benefit from Nigeria. They should have no inhibitions about being Nigerians anymore. They should have no complexes. That in my absence, certain people have created a vested interest in a sort of
All right, so this is him. We heard what he
Yes,
said.
that siege mentality is still there. One, by the fact that in some places the Igbo man are not allowed to even own property.
To where, sir? Which places?
Have you gone to the north to be engaged in their civil service? No, they won't incorporate you into their civil service and will say you're in the same country. The only state in Nigeria, the only state that will incorporate anybody from any tribe in their civil service is Lagos State. Another state.
That was before.
Also, based on what happened in 2023,
Yes,
said that some certain people were not grateful for their hospitality and accommodation. Now they're all pushing to say in the civil service only Yorubas. We don't want any other tribe.
that is still the same mentality. But the people talk about. He said you should be free to move around. That the war has ended. By that expression, has the war really ended?
No, it's still
By
going.
that expression, can you go to certain states or certain parts of the country and build a house
Speaking
and
from
claim
both
this is
sides.
yours? By that mentality, which is the sixth mentality, can you freely run some businesses in some areas?
So what is now the essence of one Nigeria?
It is one Nigeria on paper. We're not practicing one Nigeria. In the country where you have some people will tell you, for instance, out of the whole states, Lagos is still fair, but despite that Lagos has not got there. But Lagos is still fair.
And it's the fairest amongst all the states.
Amongst all. It's only state where you can come to a reasonable level. At least, let's give them 30% while others get 0%.
Really?
Yes!
But some Igbos own properties in the north as well.
In the north?
Yes.
What happens to those property when at the slightest provocation? What happens to those property?
They burn them down.
Then why would you then? In fact, in some places, you are not even incorporated or assimilated into the body politic of such a place. It is only in Lagos you can see an Igbo man become a chairman of a local government.
It's no longer so. They've stopped it now.
But that is because they are equally joining the same mentality.
No, according to them, they felt that in the 2023 elections, they ought to have supported Bola Tinubu because he was accommodating when he was the governor of Lagos State, and they feel like they've been too liberal, and that the Igbos have supposedly dominated, and that they are not receptive and grateful for the hospitality that they gave to them.
That is why I say it's still the same mentality. It's the mentality of the weak. That is just it. It is the mentality of the weak. And that period, you will ask me, all the people that voted for APC, they are all of them Yoruba people. That's why the best know. For instance, I'm an APC person. I voted.
You're an APC person?
Yeah.
Hey, I think we will flog you with
yeah, I am an APC as of then. But with that stand, I have changed my membership.
What happened?
That remains between me and my opinions. Now, will you now say everybody in all the Igbo people voted for LP?
No.
The answer is no. In those that made that number large, some of them were mostly the Yoruba people.
Yes, that is confirmed.
Where will you put the new people? Where will you put the Kogi in Lagos? Where will you put people from other tribes? But you pick out only the Igbo man. Is that not part of the same mentality Ojuku is talking about? He said you should be free to do business. You should be free to live in every part of this country. And our constitution, which said we are all free to move around, to own property, to our religion, to association and all that. Is that constitution implemented? The answer is capital no. Until we do the needful, we continue to experience what we're experiencing. And besides, we are going to have more to come.
Really?
Yes, more to come.
More what to do?
Yeah, more crimes to come. Because you see some militia too will start coming up.
Militia from
militia group. They will come from the Middle East.
From the
they will come from the South.
Which of the Middle East, sir?
I mean when I mean Middle East, they could come from Middle Belt.
Okay, Middle Belt.
Yes, Middle Belt. They could come from Middle Belt. They could come from the South.
The South?
Yes.
Oh, we already have the Niger Delta.
Forget that.
Oh, really?
Yes. These two will say, with the way Nigeria is going, we two are coming up, we want our own state. Or we want our own country.
But the South already supposedly have a perception of supporting Tinubu, so why would they want to renege or say they want a country of their own?
The Kanu is not against Tinubu.
Who is not against Tinubu?
Kanu. It's not against Nnamdi Kanu. It's not against Tinubu.
South, not Southeast.
That is exactly where I'm going to. Kanu is not against Tinubu. Kanu is against the injustice in the country. So if this injustice continue to exist, where you can't do things on your own, as you can't be proud to be in Nigeria, you see people begin to say, this country, we need to move it. We need to move it forward. We need to do other things. But all this militia, no matter the name they dare or take, will never move the country forward.
All right, another interesting question I want to ask you is, ever since what happened, the conviction of Nnamdi Kanu, a lot of voices are speaking up. Some people are saying what happened with Nnamdi Kanu is good. They say he decimated the Southeast, he caused the imbalance in the Southeast, attracted insecurity in the Southeast. Others believe that no, he opened their eyes, he helped to protect the borders of the terrain. Now you have ESN, you have Ibabu, you have several unknown gunmen, all of them Whenever anything happens, they'll tell you it's unknown gunmen. One that becomes in Sakoto has been convicted to life sentence, even if the trial continues with the appeal court, or rather, he's going forward to the appeal court. If Nnamdi Kanu has been convicted, who are the persons that have attacked Alex Oiti's convoy, former Anambra State Governor Chris Ili's convoy? Who are these persons? Are they the Sabos?
You see, when it comes to the issue of Nnamdi Kanu and the Southeast, I stand to be corrected anyway.
Okay.
That all the happenings there were not totally eyeball.
Okay.
Were not totally eyeball. As far as I don't support violence of any kind, and I wouldn't say or support killings, you actually find out most of those things are not eyeball. There are even Nigerian government, if you look into it properly.
There were reports on it.
Yes.
That the Nigerian government was involved during Buhari's time.
Yes. It will be a way to make sure that that state, that area is ungovernable. And they will say Nnamdi Kanu has done a lot of things.
That's why you have heavy presence.
But if you look at it, based on the utterances of Nnamdi Kanu, and based on his body movement, all those bulletins he sends out, the enemy can stand on those things to carry out their shady deals.
Let me come in here, sir. So it happens to be that anytime Nnamdi Kanu makes those broadcasts, the next thing there are events that reflects what he has said.
Yes, which shows that. Besides, has he the wherewithal to carry out all those things? The answer is no.
Did you hear the broadcast where he was telling persons how to get weapons and what to do? I think that was during COVID.
Do you know how much those weapons? Do you know the cost of those weapons? And do you know the minds of an average Igbo man? Do you know the meetings the Igbo people go to? Do you know what they talk about? Peace. If you begin to talk about the Igbo people, they are the most peaceful and loving set of ethnic group. They'll come to your community and live and invest and even marry your daughters.
Obviously, true. That one.
And they will develop that place as much as well as they're developing their community. Because there's a saying in Igbo language that your second half is in a foreign land. So they see everybody as their second half in the foreign land. They want to deal with you like a friend, like a brother. They want to be part of your group. They want to live in your midst. And they want to develop the place. Because they believe once that place is developed, it's for their own good. And it's for the good of everybody. So, Igbo man averagely is not a troublemaker. That ethnic group has been given a name beyond what they should bear. And be that as it may, Nnamdi Kanu again, you should know by his body language, never held himself in the court. Look at the abuse, and look at his high level of ineptitude in claiming to defend himself. There's nothing wrong in the law for you to defend yourself once you have all the facts and everything. But he shot himself on the leg, on his foot. He shot himself on the foot. When the opponent, after everything, his submission, he said, "Here I rest my case." Which means all what your opponents have been saying against you were truth. If that is where you rest your case, why then must the case continue? And mind you, he said, if you are coming to equity, come with clean hands.
All right, Mr. Awa, we'll take a very short break because we need to continue with this. The reason why I said so is that when Nnamdi Kanu was convicted, a lot of voices were speaking. Families that went through the harrowing experience of their members being butchered, slaughtered on unward note in certain communities in the southeast came out to speak openly, and some distanced themselves from the concept of IPOB or biafra. There's this young lady that went viral for what she said.
When you listen to these idiots in their program, you see that these are all paid actors. all paid actors that doesn't know their left and right. Some of them will come and claim to be lawyers and claim to be this and that. These are a bunch of clowns and idiots who doesn't know their left and right, doesn't know anything about law. Look at him talking about how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu shot himself by the leg, how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu refused to defend himself. And he failed to ask, wonder what law is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu trying? He failed to address those issues that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was mentioning throughout the whole case. This clown cannot remember that. The only thing he remembered was how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was speaking in the court. But what was he saying? This idiot could not be able to point out what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was complaining about. That complaint, was it relevant? That complaint he was shouting and calling attention, is it not important? But the only place this idiot will look at is the temperament of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That is the only thing he took. That is the only place he concentrated. Temperament of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The temperament, that is the only place. And he has forgotten that the reason Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, he didn't ask. That thing that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was shouting in the court, what was that? What was that about? Why wasn't anybody listening? And he called himself a lawyer. All he can come and tell you how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu shot himself by the leg because he spoke out in the court. Because he called the attention of the court. Say, show me the law under which you're trying me. These are a bunch of idiots. When you see them on media, you think they came there to talk to you. These are paid people to change narrative. Today, they are not talking about the illegal accusation against Mazi Nnamdi. Look at it, they have moved away from that very part. Now they are going in other areas to indict Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. In all this nonsense he has been talking now, they never discussed about the illegal judgment against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the jurisdiction of the court that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was talking about, the law under which Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was tried. They never discuss it. They are paid agents. They just talk and talk and talk. Now they went to the character of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to promote the government on the judgment they have taken. And the next thing they will say, grant him a pardon. Bunch of paid idiots. And they are Igbos running this. You see how they started the program. I just allowed them to play the program. You see how they started it? From history, Ojukwu said, and they forget the context under which Ojukwu made the statement. At the end of the day, this is where they were going. To speak ill of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to support the indictment of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to support the sentence of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That is where they are going. They have already arrived there, and I will not join them to do that nonsense. I can't join them to promote that rubbish. I've had enough from them. But it is good that we play it for you to see them and identify them. They claim to be Igbo, they claim to be this, and they start with good stories, and you think you are with them. These are a bunch of paid idiots in their conventional media. Every one of them, they are part of this madness. Don't get carried away. Don't get confused. I appreciate everyone that have been with us on the program. Thank you so much for joining. May Chukwu guide and protect you, and may Chukwu guide and protect our Supreme Leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Protect our Prime Minister, Mazi Samanema. I appreciate every one of you. Good night, and see you tomorrow morning on our morning program. Stay blessed. Good night, everybody.
Nigeria don't enter one chance, I swear, now go with the go so. Yes, men, they kill us every day, for them busy, they campaign again. After they failed all the promises they made, oh, them they praise themselves. Why the masses were supposed to give them the praises we they are they run to? Who be that? I blame it on the religious leaders. I blame it on the traditional rulers. People were supposed to fight for the people, they don't compromise. Shame on the rebellious brothers. People will cry with us during answers. Today them don't join those oppressors, they eat jollof. Something done the smell of. Very soon now we go perceive them. We have up where this government they cause my time bomb. It go soon explode. Revolution they come. It's very close and they feel more. When the power of the people we triumph, the power of the people in power, they know even care, they no even send. Say the people they die of hunger. Hungry dog is an angry dog. One day you go bite the owner. Idle man is the devil workshop. Many youths for Nigeria no good job. And the country the youths got no future. The country is gone, that's on period. Move it on. I blame it on the judiciary leaders. I blame it on the electoral officials. People were supposed to save the nation, but they collected bribe. Shame on the armed forces. People were supposed to protect the masses. One of them they shoot us anytime they hear our voice.